Sweet. All right. Hi, hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the Fuck You Mentality. As you guys probably remember, this podcast used to be Hi, Hello by Lisa. It was basically like a diary. I would just like talk shit about life. Anyways, I'm glad that I set the premise because now we're going to be welcoming the Fuck You Mentality. And the Fuck You Mentality is going to be an array of interviews of other entrepreneurs, other professionals, like my beautiful gal right here, right now. This is Alexa. Say hello.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, of course. I met Alexa by absolute fluke. I put out a model call and she happened to be like, hey, I'm totally game. And we met that way. We stayed connected. And it's been kind of cool because she's the only person, I'm not going to give away her job yet, but she's the only person that I have on my social media that does this job that is actually relatable. If that makes sense, you know? So I'm not going to give it away, but Alexa, I'm going to let you take the floor. Please tell us what you do, who you are, and what the hell you're doing with your life.
Yes. Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I am a registered dietitian. So some people get it confused, nutritionist versus registered dietitian. There is a difference. I had to go to school for nutrition. I didn't have to just, take a course. So I had to go to school. I had to do an internship, and I also have a master's degree in dietetics. So nutrition for years and years of education and experience. So I have a lot of experience working with eating disorder patients. I worked at an eating disorder clinic for about a year. In undergrad, I actually worked for the Wisconsin Badgers. So I'm from Wisconsin. So cold there. It's great. And really focused on helping the athletic department with performance, recovery, all the things with the student athletes, which was super awesome. And then after grad school, I actually moved to sunny Las Vegas and worked for the UFC. So I worked for the fighters, if the guys and the gals who beat up each other in the ring. I worked for them. It was an awesome job. It was, a huge passion of mine, but I did end up now going into private practice. But a little background about me and how I got involved is I just find it so fascinating how nutrition can play such a huge role in like all aspects of health, not just like our physical as well. I grew up as a dancer, and I found that I was always hating my body and like trying to get into this like dancer's body that just, I wasn't built that way. So that was one struggle I had. But then I also realized that like nutrition plays such a key role in how I performed as a dancer, how I recovered as a dancer. And so that's really how I started my passion for nutrition. But then I found myself middle school, mostly high school, early college, like just really struggling with like that disordered eating mentality where it's like, oh, I'll try this fad diet and I'll, restrict myself like crazy and eat 800 calories all week. And then Friday and Saturday would come and I would completely go nuts. And then, that diet starts Monday mentality would start again Monday and then do the same thing. And so I was in that like really, really bad space, really poor relationship with food. And that was one reason why I kind of went into nutrition. So I started my degree in sophomore year. So that's when I really started developing a better relationship with food, actually, when I was like majoring in it. So just have a really strong passion for it. And then as far as UFC, I mean, it was my dream job. It was I love, the company, I love the job, but it was very like, a lot of masculine energy. I mean, I worked with men, a lot of that hustle, the hustle culture, that hustle mentality that I found myself, like I thought that was what I wanted to do, but I found myself that it wasn't for me. I found myself at the end of the work weeks, just like bawling my eyes out after working, 80, 100-hour work weeks. I found that like my physical health, my mental health was taking a toll. And so I started my own private practice in fall of 2020. Yes. Kind of in the midst of the pandemic, super scary to like just go on my own and like, that unknown, but it was like probably the best decision ever. So I own my own business. It's Ask Alexa Nutrition. So I'm taking a spin on the Amazon Alexa because like they stole my name. So now I need to use it to my advantage,
That's kind of cool. Yeah. I didn't realize like, okay, that's cute. Yeah.
So I primarily now work with women who are looking to lose weight, busy women looking to lose weight, develop a better relationship with food, and really focus on all aspects of health. So like sleep, stress management, I think body image, confidence, all of that is huge, emotional eating. So all aspects of health, not just the physical. But after working in this space for so long, I'm like, okay, this is where my passion is. And this is what I really love. Still love sports nutrition. It'll always be like in my heart, but this is like my rock. I just love it. So
You're diehard.
that's where I am with that.
Wow. That's first of all, so fucking relatable. Like in the sense of like your journey to loving food, like why you love food now, just like having that like unrealistic expectation with your body, like at a young age, you put yourself in this bubble and you're constantly finding ways to put yourself in this category that you know you'll never be in, you know?
Right.
And yeah, like even with like society and just people around you, like you, of course, comparison's the biggest form of theft. So you're comparing yourself like all these years. Okay, well, maybe if I just eat less, you know, maybe if I just restrict my diet, maybe I'll just be skinnier, like whatever, all these things. And yeah, I am in exactly the same. That was my relationship with food. And that's why I've gravitated towards you, because your thoughts is what I think, but you're debunking my thoughts, you know, without even like doing it, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, that hustle culture, man, it's so enticing, right? It's like it's fast paced, there's a lot of money,
Right.
you're meeting all these people, it's just so much fun, but then it's not sustainable.
No, not at
Like
all.
that's the part people don't tell you, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm fast paced, like I love it. It's so much fun. But where's your mental health at? Like where are you mentally, you
Mhm.
know? People
Yeah,
only show what they want to show, which I
exactly.
get it,
Mhm.
but you always fall short. Always.
Yep. Yeah. And I think there's a place for there's a place for hustle at
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
As long as it's like aligned and like you feel good doing it. But when it's 24/7 and it's like no breaks, low sleep, or like little sleep, poor nutrition, like that's when like your health suffers in this like
Mhm.
hustle mentality. So
Mhm.
yeah, I've definitely been there. And, you know, UFC was amazing. Like I love the
Mhm.
company. And yeah, there's times when I miss it for sure. I mean, we had that team aspect and now I'm just like my little own, you know, I have my little golden doodle who sits here with me, but I'm by myself.
Mhm.
Like I have my own boss, which is awesome, but I don't have that team aspect anymore. So I do miss that. But at the same time, I'm like, it was go, go, go 24/7. I just couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Um, so
So that leads me to my first question with you is how do you individually define being healthy and what do you believe the standard should be?
mhm. So I think a lot of people think that being healthy is like a certain diet, right? So like
Mhm.
I'm healthy because I do keto, or I'm healthy because I cut out all sugar, or even like I'm healthy because I'm a certain weight or fit into like a certain category. I'm in this BMI range, so I'm healthy. But it's really it's not about that. It's an all-encompassing approach, and it's really finding what works for you. Because I think you can be healthy. Like there's truth to the fact that like eating whole nutritious foods most of the time from a nutrition standpoint, yes, you're probably more healthy than someone who eats like fast food every day. But like at the same time, where is your relationship with food from like a mental health standpoint? Like, can you have a donut or have, you know, a cookie or some chips and like not feel guilt, shame, anxiety around that? So it's
Mhm.
really finding that like building that relationship with food and making that peace with food that's also an aspect of health as well. And so really what I focus on in my business is finding that balance between the foods that nourish you, foods that are good for you, and then the foods that satisfy you know, maybe some of the alcohol, maybe some of the fun foods like the cupcakes and the cookies, but finding that balance. Um,
Mhm.
I think that's a huge component of it, especially from a mental health, like relationship with food side of things. But then there's also all the other components that a lot of times we don't think about, like sleep and stress management and like our self-love, our body image, our confidence. I think just, you know, the emotional eating side of things. And I think we'll get into that a little bit too, but it's an all-encompassing approach. It's not just I'm on this diet, I'm healthy, or my blood work looks good, I'm healthy. It's a whole aspect. And I think we kind of touched on that too a little bit before with like the hustle culture, where it's like, oh yeah, I'm in this hustle culture, but are you actually healthy from like all these, aspects of health? So there's so many different aspects of it. It's not just, I'm on this certain diet, or I am, a healthy BMI, so I'm healthy. There's so many components to it. So it's really finding what works for you. And I think healthy can look different for everybody, but it's not just nutrition. It's all these aspects of health. Nutrition is just like one point. If that makes sense.
Right. And that's something that I preach about, like now in my journey where I'm at now, I'm often met with, oh, I wish I could do what you do. And I immediately am like, no. What works for me will not work for you. My version of health is totally different from yours. And right now, same thing. Comparison's the biggest form of theft. Comparing my journey and relationship with food and getting to healthiness and healthy lifestyle and what I view as healthy is not the same as yours. And even just speaking to keto. So this is actually off topic really quick. And I kind of want to debunk this really fast. I don't know if you're versed in this, but whatever, I don't care. I have to talk about it. So keto, obviously, from what I've learned, keto is designed for specific health problems. Am I right? Or am I wrong?
So keto was originally designed for mostly children who are struggling with epilepsy, so seizures.
Oh, you hear that? You guys hear that? It's designed for children with epilepsy. Go ahead.
Yeah. And so then it turned into like, I think the low carb phase started with like Atkins, and then it got super low carb with keto. So it's kind of like this, like, dragged out thing to where now keto is what it is primarily like moderate protein, very, very high fat, and very, very low carb.
Right.
And so, yes. Do you have a question about it, or are you just thinking of my opinion on it?
No, I wanted to put it out there that it was designed for a specific reason.
Yes.
And not to lose a shit ton of weight. It was designed for specific health issues that we adapted because we saw it as weight loss. And no offense to anyone who's listening right now is diehard keto. Absolutely. If it works for you, I love that for you. Yes. But please do your research about stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I know you know this, and this is just one, I don't know anything else besides keto. Like that's the only thing that like has really, I never did keto. But a lot of people in my life did keto. And that's where my I don't want to say hatred, but that's where my hatred for fad diets and my hatred for diet culture started, is when everyone around me was doing keto.
Right.
It was so restricted. It was annoying. Like I'd go out with people and be like, oh, I'm keto. And I'm like, okay, I don't, okay. Why? Why are you keto?
Right. I think you have to find what works for you, your lifestyle, your activity levels. I will just say this. If you are considering keto out there and you're a very active person, if you lift weights, if you go to the gym, if you do these things, your body really thrives off carbs. Like your body needs carbs in those high intensity situations. And so if you're depleted of carbs, which keto is, you will not be able to push as hard in the gym. It's just science. I'm just saying science. You won't be able to push as hard in the gym. You won't be able to recover as well. There's a lot of things that are not great with keto. I think it can work for some people. Some people thrive off it and absolutely love it. And that's amazing. I'm happy for you. But if you are somebody considering it, really try to think about your lifestyle, your goals. Do you want to go to brunch and not be able to enjoy, a piece of toast or have a mimosa because it has sugar? Is that going to work with your lifestyle? Because I think there's some truth to finding that balance and something that you can stick to long term and that's going to be sustainable. I always say trying to eat how you can eat for life. You have to embody this. It's not just a short-term quick. It's something you have to be able to embody. Like you have to be this lifestyle with eating. It's not just a short-term quick thing.
Eat for life. I really like that.
Yeah.
Wow. I really like that a lot. Just to touch base really quick about carbs too. So just speaking to also my journey with carbs. Carbs often are looked at as bad.
Yeah.
You can't have carbs. Carbs are bad. No, 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 no. Carbs will make you fat, right? So just for transparency, I have fear foods. I probably have some sort of eating disorder or something with that, but I've always had fear foods, and my fear foods were pasta and pizza. Terrified, wouldn't touch them. Love it. And I would tell myself I hate them. They're so nasty, gross. I enjoy a good margarita pizza. Good brick oven, margarita pizza, pasta, mac and cheese. I could eat that shit all day. Okay. And it took, when, like you just said, working out, when I really started to get into lifting and all that stuff, my trainers are like, where are the carbs? Why aren't you eat? I'm like, no, can't eat carbs. So like, no, you'll pass out. And I'm like, no. And I passed out.
Gosh.
That was a wake up call. When I'm lifting, I go down to squat and I don't come back up. That was like oh shit, they're kind of right. I need a little bit of carb, So that leads me into my next question. Do you think there's a direct correlation between mental health and dietary habits? And do you think it would be lucrative if dietitians and psychologists worked in tandem?
I think there's 100% a correlation. Just a little background, like all my previous experience, I worked in eating disorders. We had therapists, we had psychiatrists on staff. So we had a team of mental health experts. And I mean, to be honest, when I work with someone who has a full-blown eating disorder or even disordered eating, like it's not about the food at all. Like I feel like I am more of a therapist, and I actually had to have a lot of counseling courses in my undergraduate and graduate program, just because it's not about the food. A lot of times it's about, something mentally going on. So maybe we eat for so many reasons, right? We eat because we're stressed, because we're sad, because we're lonely, because we're bored, we're happy, we're excited. Like we eat for so many reasons. So I think there is definitely a mental health component with that. I would say 90%, maybe 95, almost all my clients struggle with some type of emotional eating, where it's like, okay, I had a stressful day at work. I get home and I just ate, a sleeve of Oreos, and it happened. I don't even know what happened. There's definitely a mental component of things. And I also think that, I think something that's really great too, is even in the sports nutrition world, we were getting psychiatrists and therapists as well on staff too. And even in collegiate or professional, like that's starting to come around, because I think it again is like an all-encompassing approach. Like I think most people should see therapists. I think they're important. They can help us with, all aspects of health, but even the food side of things as well. And I think also, there's truth to that. Like when we eat better, we feel better. So like we're going to have mental clarity, like the carb situation that we're talking about. You've heard of like the keto flu. A lot of people, when they start keto, they get this like mental fog. They get this low energy. It's because you're cutting carbs. Our brains thrive off carbs. That's what our brains want and really need. And if we don't have that, that's when like the mental, clarity, the energy levels go down. So yeah, there's a component to that too. By fueling your body appropriately, the mental health side of things are going to improve as well. So 100% of correlation. And yeah, I would love like down the road in my business to like have a therapist on staff, where it's like, if you need to talk to somebody about something going on in your life, then that's great, because it can impact our food choices and our eating habits and our patterns.
Yeah. And I wanted to talk about that because when I started to build a healthy relationship with food, that's when I noticed that I mentally was better, physically was better. And it opened a door of doing my own research about food, because I didn't realize how important food actually was. And I started learning about gut health and, what foods work with my gut, like IBS, right? Like IBS, I feel like it's such a blanket term. And everyone has IBS. Like everyone on this planet has IBS for sure. And I don't know. I think like being into this journey, I didn't take that for an answer. And I started learning about foods. I started learning about green foods and red foods and all these different colored foods and like what they do. And even as like a female, like we have hormones, we have all these things that can counteract and can play against each other. And when I started to realize that it's not about what you don't eat, it's about what you eat. It's about what you get to enjoy. It's not about what you can't have, it's about what you can have.
Yeah,
you can have everything.
Yeah.
And it was me. I was telling myself, you don't like pizza.
You're lying to yourself, like telling yourself that story.
Literally, people would be like, hey, let's go grab dinner. I'd be like, can't have pizza. Why? Like, why the fuck? Why was I doing that? And I look and I think about it, and I look back and I'm like, wow, like I really did have such an unhealthy relationship with just pizza. Like, what the fuck? Pizza.
It's like you put these foods on a pedestal. It's like, these quote unquote bad foods. Yeah.
It's so goofy, And now at home, I keep 2 things of pizza dough at my house, and I make these beautiful pizzas. And you know what I put on them? I put veggies and sauces and cheeses and protein, everything. I put all of my things that I'm very conscious about on pizza. Right. And it's fucking delicious. It's incredible. Yeah. And it took a lot of like mental like stability, really, and like learning about food and doing research and talking to people like this, that I was like, wow, okay, at least get over this.
Yeah.
It's just you. And it's okay. Like, it's okay that I went through that. I'm really glad that I did. And to anyone who's listening, like, it's okay. But the moment that you get to get a grip on your relationship with food, I feel like that's when you actually start living.
Yeah. It's food freedom.
Food freedom. I like that.
And you can, just a sneak peek into what I do, like we focus on balancing our plate in a certain way. And like what you said, you have pizza, but you're incorporating color, you're adding veggies, you're adding a good source of protein. Like you're making a balanced plate, but you don't have to cut out a certain food group. Like you don't have to cut out carbs. You can still have the carbs. Right. It's just adding your color, adding your good proteins, and finding that balance. And again, like finding those foods that really nourish you and foods that satisfy. And pizza is satisfying as fuck. Like, who doesn't love pizza? Pizza's amazing.
Honestly. And so that leads me into my last question. And I want to give a little spiel real quick before we do this. So just to talk about Alexa's TikTok in particular, I feel like what you're doing on TikTok is incredible. And the reason why I say this is because TikTok is, what I've noticed, is a really, really young generation. And all I see on TikTok are these really young fitness people, which absolutely no shame to them. Good on you. But all I'm seeing is physique. I'm not actually seeing what's behind it. And when I'm shown what they're eating, it's unrealistic. It's
like what I eat today.
Completely unrealistic.
Yes.
You stage that. Right. And the reason why I say that is we don't live in a world where all of those things are always accessible if you're not working. Like if you're not working, if you're stay at home, like if you do whatever, fantastic, that's accessible. It's slow paced. But when you're working a full-time job, I'm sorry, I'm not carrying, there's no way I'm going to be able to carry on acai bowl. There's no way.
No.
And it really bothers me. And I know it shouldn't, because I'm not here to judge. Like, I'm not judging them, but I feel like that is where I have personally struggled with creating this mentality, like this thing that I should be doing. Like, oh, I should be eating all those things. Like, fuck, why can't I have the time to do all this?
It's that comparison too, I think, as well.
It's comparison. Yes. And it's so goofy, but it's what I'm seeing, and it's all over my TikTok. It's all over my social media, and you can't help but feel like shit,
Oh, for sure. Even I do. Like, I have to take a step back and be like, okay, this person's eating that. Wait, like, should I be doing that as a dietitian? Like, should I be? And then I'm like, okay, hold hold on. And then I almost have to take a step back or like just take a step away from the app for a little bit or block those people or get those people like, off my feed because it can be so triggering. I mean, if it's triggering for me, like how is it triggering for just the general population who doesn't have a lot of knowledge in nutrition?
Right. And what I love about your social media is that you embrace that. You welcome that. I'm a real person. It's okay to eat Oreos, eat them in moderation, but also celebrate the fact that you had, like, you built the control to not eat the whole sleeve, like you said. And you talk a lot about balance and how, like, kind of debunking stuff in like a really fun, lighthearted way. That it's enticing. It makes, every time I scroll, I watch whatever you're showing because it's lighthearted but it's not negative. Like, you don't bring a negative culture to people that aren't on your level, like, oh, you eat that? Ew, you're eating this. It's more of like, hey, it's totally cool, but here are some good alternatives.
Yeah. I think the education piece, that's huge, that people sometimes, are lacking. Like, if you don't have a degree in nutrition or you're not knowledgeable, and there's so much information out there. If you just Google like best diet, you could spend freaking hours on there, like looking for stuff. So really it's debunking a lot of things or just providing education to where, like, you don't have to do a super restrictive, like, fad diet. Like, find what works for you. Just because that fitness person is, drinking her green juice and freaking, making these amazing acai bowls every day. Like, is that realistic? Probably not. Is it staged? Probably. So does that person eat that every single day? Probably not. So it's really, and also knowing that sometimes, social media, it's a highlight reel for most people. So they're going to share their best life. And if you're trying to compare your nutrition to theirs, it's going to probably make you feel like shit, but just know that that's probably not real.
And that's the big premise of the fucking mentality. And that's a big side of it, is social media is only what people want to show you.
Right.
We often forget that there are people behind the screen that probably deal with the same shit you do. And that's the whole point of the whole podcast, is to talk about, like Alexa just said, she's a registered dietitian. She has master's degrees and years of experience, but still deals with this.
Yes.
She's not inhumane. She's not a robot. She's a human.
Yeah.
And it's showing vulnerability like that is just so, especially with food. Showing, like, being honest and saying, hey, like, I did have a shitty relationship with food, and that's what enticed me to be this person to help other people with this relationship with food. That is so, like, that's just, it's beautiful to me. And I wish more people would embrace that and really dig deep. Like, why are you in the industry that you're in? Like, you just said it yourself. I struggled with this my whole life, so I want to help people.
Yeah. And I think too, the food thing is key as well, but like the body image piece, like I was talking to and even myself, I'm like, I have bad body image days. We're females. We get our periods. We get bloating. We get all the things. Like, I was trying on clothes the other day and I had to stop because I was like, you know what? I don't feel good right now. I'm going to come back tomorrow and, go shopping tomorrow. I just don't feel good right now. And so it's kind of like taking a step back and knowing that, like, everybody struggles with this. It's not just, I'm not magic just because I'm a dietitian. Like, everybody struggles with it.
Even as professional, you guys heard it first, as a professional.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's real. But yes, at least my last question, what are your specialties? What is your mission? What is the point of what you're doing? Like, why do you do what you do? I mean, you kind of touched base on it, but I want to know, like, what's your next step? Like, where do you plan on taking this?
Yeah. So right now, again, my private practice, I primarily work with busy women who have really poor self-confidence, wanting to lose weight, have tried every fad diet under the sun. Nothing works for them. They can't figure out, why they're not losing weight, but they have this strong desire to. Also, all the other aspects of health too, the sleep, the stress management, energy levels. I touched on body image, emotional eating, all of the things. So it's an all-encompassing aspect. We don't just focus on nutrition in my program, but I really try to help women find that balance and learn how to eat for life. So in my program, we work together, we set goals every single week. They're small, achievable, attainable goals that build over time. Small goals is what's going to get you to that big end goal. It's not like, okay, I gotta, go from 0 to 100 in one day. Like, let's take it slow. So my program is a 3-month minimum commitment, just so people really start developing and finding that balance with food. And then I really, tell my clients, once you're able to do this on your own, once you figure out a pattern that works for you, once you're able to learn how to eat for life, which is my little quote, you can spread your wings and, we're done working together. So once they feel like they can do it on their own, that's when I'm confident. But things always creep up, like you said, that fitness professional on TikTok, or my best friend just lost 10 pounds doing a carnivore diet, or whatever the case is. So it's really debunking a lot of that stuff. And my primary focus, my 3 pillars are education. I think that's huge. Support for my clients. A lot of people just don't have the support that they need to hit their goals. And then that accountability piece too, because sometimes it's that tough love aspect as well. Like, you know what? You deserve to find a time to work out. You deserve to find a time to move your body. So let's figure out how that's going to work for you. I always say, like, this is a quote, but self-love isn't selfish. Like, putting yourself first is not selfish.
Self-love isn't selfish. I'm writing notes of like what you're saying right now. So yeah.
I love it. And I think too, just I've been there as well. Like I've worked 1,000,000-hour work weeks, put my health on the back burner. I've struggled with my weight. I've struggled with my eating. Like I've been there. So that's what I can relate to my clients with as well. But when I see like a woman, like just a mom who gets into those old jeans again, or loses like the weight that she's wanted, like that, my heart like melts. That's like absolutely my favorite thing in the world. So it just makes me feel so good. So that's really my mission and what I do. I work with people one-on-one right now. And then I do group coaching a couple times throughout the year also, but I'm also working on a course. So it's kind of like a lower investment opportunity where you can kind of do a self-paced course with nutrition. And it's a lot of debunking those bad diets. So that's what is coming up, but really, learning how to eat for life is my motto.
Dude, what? A course?
Yes.
Writing this down. A course is coming. A course.
Yes.
To debunk nutrition.
All the things. Yes. And just really teaching people like how to balance their plate. And so that'll be
that's incredible. What the hell?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Of course, guys, it has taken me like a lot of self-discipline to really search and look through like legitimate articles about food. So long. So to have a registered dietitian who has all these years of experience to make a course, you have no, guys, oh my God, that's incredible. Dude, I will be the first person to purchase that course. Thank you very much.
Appreciate
Put me on that top of the list. There we go. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited. So it's really great. I mean, as you know, being self-made is so awesome because you can do whatever you want. You're your own boss and you can tweak things how you want. And you don't have to answer to anybody, which is awesome. So
yeah. Wow. So you heard it first, guys. This is a person who is dedicated to honestly empowering women and men too, I'm sure, but just in general, just empowering individuals by creating a healthy relationship with food and debunking what society has deemed as healthy or whatever. It's kind of teaching you that I always say you are your own destiny. You have the control. Right. It's all in your hands. I'm going to help you. Here are the tools. And I really like that you said education, support, and accountability, because those are really just the 3 things that make like a strong relationship, with anything, like a strong relationship with like mental health, a strong relationship with your job, education, support, accountability, all those things. And I really love Learn How to Eat for Life. That's actually going to be the title of this podcast, is Learn How to Eat for Life, because I've never heard that. And that is so key. I stopped with the whole diet because I hated diet culture. It was taking over me, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this, blah, 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 and I realized that it didn't work for me and it was ruining my mental health, and as soon as I realized, wow, okay, food is your friend. You, Lisa, you can have, like, I had a muffin on my way to work today, and it was a banana nut. It was a vegan banana nut muffin from Trader Joe's, and it had chocolate in it, had sugar, had carbs, had all these things. Would I have done that? Probably even just a year ago. Probably not.
Yeah.
It's fuel.
Yeah.
This is going to help me jumpstart my morning. I do have some fresh fruits waiting for me. You know, I got to try to balance somehow, some way. But as soon as I realized, like, and it re-solidifies every time I see your page, like, Lisa, it's just balance. It's just balance. Like, it's okay. It's just balance. You just got to balance. And just those little things on TikTok like that, it's like it pops up when I need it, you know?
Yeah. I love that. That's
Yeah,
so great.
it's, and that's why I like, as soon as I launched podcasts, I was like, I gotta contact Alexa.
Oh, I love
First
it.
person on my brain, I gotta contact Alexa.
No, that literally makes my heart melt. Like, that is why I do what I do. So I appreciate you. And the fact that, you know, we don't work together, like, you're not my client, but you just see my free content out there, and you get, you know, a lot of information from it. So that I appreciate that.
A ton. Yeah, literally a ton. Like, you're the only page that I go to if I'm like, fuck, what is wrong with me today? You know, and it happens to pop up. I'm like, okay, like, you're doing okay. Like, it's totally fine, you know. And the body image thing, you know, like, looking at myself in the mirror, and it's, you know, ebbs and flows. I'm definitely getting better, but it's learning, getting an even better relationship with food is helping that body image every day, you know?
Right. 100%.
So what do you got for me? What questions? What do you got for me? Yeah.
Let's see. So we kind of touched on this a little bit, but what have you struggled with health and nutrition wise when you were a part of that hustle culture? And did you put your health on the back burner during this time?
God, yeah. Something that I struggled with my whole life is being skinny. I've always been this really stick thin, skinny girl. It's just my genetic makeup, and I had to accept that. And being a part of hustle culture made it even worse because I wouldn't eat, and then I would binge eat, and then I'd gorge, you know. So I was still really skinny, but I had a pouch and terrible gut health. You know, I would poop maybe twice a week. That's maybe, you know. And my nutrition and my health, what was that?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Right? Yeah.
No. And it was I was living in survival mode. So surviving in hustle culture, which is God. But on top of that, it was just anything I could grab, just because I was hungry. Like, I didn't eat for a purpose. I didn't eat with a purpose.
Right.
I'd eat just for the fuck of it. Like, oh, I'm gonna grab a bag of potato chips because it's been like a day since I've eaten.
Yeah.
Like, I just need a little something.
2 minutes here. I might as, you know, I need to grab something, and this is the closest thing and all that I can find, because I didn't prepare, you know.
I don't have time.
Yeah, I don't have time.
I don't have time. And I would always say that. Oh, sorry, I don't have time right now. Like, I don't really have time. I don't have, like, what do you fucking mean you don't have time to eat?
Right.
How ludicrous does that sound?
Right.
And putting my health on the back burner, absolutely, because what I learned through my journey with health, with health and food, is so my spinal injury, that's a whole other topic, but I didn't realize how much food could cause inflammation in your body, because if your body doesn't digest it, or if you're having a reaction to the food, it causes inflammation.
Yeah.
And it's painful. And as a woman, we are so susceptible to just different things. Like, we just, our hormones and our body is just different. And for every single person on this earth, men too, you know, not excluding men, but when I had the spinal injury, it was first of all, I spiraled, and it was fucking awful. And B, I didn't want to eat because I didn't want to gain weight, because I couldn't move.
You're not burning the calories off. Well, supposedly, you know.
I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to drink water and exist. And it was awful. Yeah. And when I started my aha moment is when my friend Mandy called me, and she had she also suffers with this very similar thing. And she was like, you don't have to let this consume you. Like, you don't have to sit in this. Like, there are options to get out of this. And, you know, if you want to continue in this industry, and if you want to continue with these people and continue with these relationships, you've really got to get a handle on it. And I know what it is. So I started working with some trainers, and then they started teaching me about food. And then it kind of just like, wait, food is related to that? Like, if I really eat differently, if I am intentional about what I eat, my back could probably heal. And I started doing research. That's what started it. And that's the moment when I was like, hold on, fuck hustle culture. I don't fucking need to work my ass off. Fuck this. I am not doing this, because now if I continue down hustle culture, I won't be behind the chair in a year. That was not an option for me. So what was my option? I had to adapt and I had to overcome. And I started learning about food. I went plant-based. I went cold turkey plant-based, and I completely detoxed my body of everything that was just bad. And like, it was like freeing. Like I felt like I'd like lost all this weight, just by eating healthier. And that's where it started. Like that's as soon as that the spinal injury happened, and then I talked to my friend Mandy, and I talked to the fitness trainers. It was like so many people had to be like, hey, get it together.
Well, I think a lot of people are, oh, I'm not moving. Like, you have an injury or you broke your leg or whatever. So I'm sitting on the couch all day. But actually, like, in order for that part of your body to heal, like, you have to fuel it with food. And then also just the education piece around the fact that we burn so many calories just by sitting. Like, as we're sitting here talking, like, we're just burning calories. And that's where most of our calories out of the day that we burn come from, is just for our body to like live, for our organs to function, for us to breathe, for our heart to beat. And so to neglect your body by not fueling it is like, one of the worst things you can do. So I'm so glad that you figured this out. And and the fact that you just like did your own research and freaking just jumped in is so incredible. How did you find that, like after you started eating better, that was your injury healing a lot faster than it probably was when you were, not eating or eating pretty crappy?
Yeah. So when it initially happened, I was stuck at like a 90-degree angle for about 6 months. Like I was literally stuck in this position for about 6 months, and I work like that too. As soon as I started doing plant-based and I started to, I cut out everything and then started incorporating everything. Yeah. As soon as I did that, that's when the pain started to subside. Like that's when like my body wasn't swollen, and like basically the inflammation wasn't allowing my muscles to let go of my spine, because it was, it's going to protect it. The injury is permanent. Like it's always going to be there. It's always going to be painful. But that's when everything started to kind of like mellow out, and the treatment that I was doing actually started helping. Whereas the treatment before, when I was still inflamed and still not eating or eating like shit, it was actually making it worse. And that's even what like my new doctors were saying, I'm glad that you switched doctors. It was this whole thing, whatever. But yeah, as soon as I shouldn't even say just food related. As soon as I switched my mentality about food, that's when I started healing. Because like you said, in order for the injury to actually heal, you have to feed, like putting Neosporin on a cut, right? Yeah. Like that's how it heals. Yeah. Food's exactly the same way.
100%.
Good food from the earth that we live on into your body. I mean, I'm also like super spiritual. So like the electromagnetic field, like I think it's a really beautiful thing now that being plant-based has taught me a lot about, grabbing that energy and putting that energy in my body, and it just keeps me grounded to the earth. And like, that's a whole other thing. But there is something so beautiful about that. And that I like internally, like mentally, I feel so empowered to eat vegetables, like these are so good, and I know they're so healthy for me. This is so much fun, instead of just eating to survive, it's eating with a purpose.
Yeah. I think that's so true too. It's like all the foods that grow in the ground are good for us. Like there's
every single one of them.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's really like, the spirituality thing is there, because it's very interesting that, there's an apple that grows from a tree. You can eat this, and this is like freaking amazing for you.
Literally.
Yeah.
Mind blowing.
Yeah, it really is.
And of course, like you don't want to eat a magic mushroom because you might die, but that's a totally different thing.
Yeah. There's those berries out there.
Don't touch those. But yeah, there's something so honestly so beautiful about eating from the earth. And that's once I work out barefoot. I that was like a newer habit that I started instilling for my new trainers. And once I really started to like get in tune with my body and my feet touching the ground, and like I said, the electromagnetic field, and Then realizing like there's food that comes from that too, and how that kind of, I started to look at all the things I'd done in the past, like the diets and stuff, how it restricts you from certain vegetables and certain things. I'm like why?
Keto fruit.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
Like I get it. It's sugar. It's natural sugar.
Yeah.
It comes from the earth.
Fiber in fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now
our gut.
Right. It's fantastic for your gut. Exactly. So now the way I look at my food right now is, which is probably, I'm still like, okay, there's like two spectrums, right? Like unhealthy and healthy, right? Now I'm getting better, but now I look at things in a sense of, okay, I know this certain vegetable is very fibrous. It has to be on my plate today. I haven't had a lot of fiber today, so I got to do that. Protein, I pick my protein, and then I pick some sort of carb and some sort of fat as well. So I kind of want to shift a little bit from that, because it did get a little obsessive for a little bit, because I was like, whoa, I know so much about food now. I'm going to freaking do this all the time,
Right.
That balance I didn't have. Like once I learned about it, I was like, oh no, processed food? No, you're crazy,
like you almost went from one end to the other, like eating really crap, eating like so well. So like you're kind of trying to find this balance.
So well. Yes. So right now I'm in that process of trying to finding a balance, but I do eat with intent. My health is no longer on the back burner. I do say no to certain things because I know that they will cause a flare up, and I know when I'm having a flare up. And that's that. I don't care that I might look goofy at the restaurant because I don't want to eat XYZ. I know what's good for my body, and I'm eating with intent, eating with health. And of course I'll have a couple bites of your food, but I know that those things aren't really that good for me. Like me personally,
they're not serving you personally. Exactly.
Right. Me personally, you eat, babe, you eat it. You eat like steak. I can't eat steak. It's not beef is just not really, red meat's just not really a thing for me. It makes my stomach hurt. So babe, you eat that sirloin, babe, you go ahead, boo.
Right.
Eat it. Not really do that well for me. And and it also had to take a little bit of me to not judge people. And it was a little bit of a hunch, like a little bit of a, a pedestal of my, like, oh, I'm going to eat healthy and I know it's good for me. Like, oh, you're going to eat that. That's fucked up, Lisa. That's fucked up.
Like I get that a lot just as a dietitian, because, I'll be out to dinner and people are like, oh my gosh, you're going to order this, this salad, or you're going to order the healthiest thing on the menu. It's like, no, not necessarily. I'm going to eat what, one, sounds good, and two, what's going to fuel my body. And I might have something that satisfies me too, some of the fun foods that I enjoy. So I'm going to find that balance. It's not that I'm, only going to eat the shitty foods, and I'm not only going to eat the healthy foods. I'm going to find that balance and really what sounds good at that time too.
Right.
So
exactly.
And what works for you. I think that's the whole.
What works for you.
Yeah.
That's like if anyone can take anything from this fucking podcast, this episode, this is going on YouTube too. Please find what works for you.
Yeah. Don't do what the neighbor's doing. Don't do what your trainer's doing. Don't do what your significant other's doing. Find what is going to work for you.
Exactly. If you feel good about it, fuck them.
Yeah. Right.
Fucking mentality. You like doing this. If it serves your purpose, if you enjoy it, if you are if you view yourself as healthy, fantastic. I love that for you. I mean, granted, there's also certain levels of actually being healthy, but anyway.
Right. Absolutely. Love it.
Yeah. All right. Next one. Yeah.
We kind of answered this a little bit, but
yeah.
How has it changed you obviously physically with your injury, nutrition's changed you for the better. Any mental clarity or anything mentally coming up for you as far as health goes, that nutrition, once you started adopting this healthier eating pattern, anything mentally come up there?
Oh my gosh, yes. I found myself being so aggressive and being so irritable and very
angry,
hot. Yeah, I was super angry.
Yeah.
And I almost felt like I could never have actual mental clarity, like my anxiety through the fucking roof. But I never identified my anxiety. So it was like this revelation of, oh, okay, I guess I do kind of anxiety. And then I went plant-based and I was like, whoa. I don't have to be anxious. Like I don't have to be like this really tense really, you know, like hot and heavy individual.
Mhm.
No. And I do believe that there, like, absolutely, there is an absolute correlation between what your dietary habits are and also your health, your anxiety, your depression, your whatever the case may be.
100%.
And that's, you know, that's my own journey too, is do my own research about that, because I think that's really interesting. Side note, I went to school for psychology for like a year and a half, and I really wanted to be a developmental psychologist and deal with children and kind of like do all that stuff because my childhood wasn't that great. And it I've always been intrigued by like the brain, like how your mental health works, like how the brain fucking works. And yeah, it just
Mhm.
seeing how it's not even just food, but just looking at the world differently, nutritionally, like I said, the earth and all that stuff really shifted just my sleeping patterns, my judgment, you know, just a lot of different things. Yeah. And I wish more people understood the genuine effects of food.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not against medicine, but when I went through that detox period of with the spinal injury, like when that happened, and I was crazy intentional about my food, and I was just crazy about all of that, that's when my brain really shifted into being super holistic.
Mhm.
Sorry, my dog's barking. Because I personally didn't need my Bayer's back and body whatever anymore.
Need it anymore. Yeah.
Nope, I didn't need that anymore.
Mhm.
And if I felt like I was having a flare up, I would just take a look at my diet. I would take a look at, you know, what's going in my body right now and shift that. So I look at food first now instead of like a band-aid. And
Yes.
that's just me though, you know, but hello. So yeah, it's been really exciting because I don't talk about food on my social media. I don't really talk about like my dietary habits on social media. I don't talk about any of that stuff on social media. And the only reason being is I wasn't 100% comfortable with it, and I didn't ever want to come from a place of judgment. And that's why I wanted to talk to you too, is just to hear what you had to say, because it kind of validated like how I think.
Yeah.
You know, so now I even feel more comfortable being like, hey, this is my friend Alexa. What I just said to you, she will give it to you way better, and she will actually help you.
Mhm.
You know, and that's like the whole point of this is also Zeus. Sorry.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Stop. I'm literally on a fucking phone call, and now you want to act like an ass? Don't. It's been good this whole time. Okay, go sit down. Just for a second, okay?
Waking up right now. She's staring at me in the eyes. I'm like, oh, don't look
Like,
at me.
hey. Oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. So yeah, the whole point of this is also to help Alexa out as well, and to kind of not put you on the map, but put you on the map, because I don't know, I don't have any other dietitians or nutritionists on my page. And honestly, it's because I haven't found the right people. I don't love everyone's approach, and that's just my opinion. I really enjoy your approach, because your approach isn't just about food.
Mhm.
It's about encompassing your internal self.
Yes.
And I think that's really important to put out on social media, because we live in a world where it's all about image. It's all about what you see. It's all about that. It's not actually what's going inside your body, but that's bullshit. It's all about what goes in your body, and no one wants to talk about it, you know?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Love that.
what's your handle again?
At alexaeisenberg.rd, Instagram and Facebook, or I'm sorry, Instagram and TikTok. And then my Facebook group is just Ask Alexa Health and Nutrition Group. It's a private Facebook group. I have like all sorts of info on there. I go live every week, talk about a different topic related to health and nutrition, recipes. We do challenges in there. It's all free. It's all just fun. So it's a private Facebook group on there. So
I love that. I am going to be putting all of this information in the bio, in the YouTube and my podcast, guys. Give her a follow. Just go follow. Even if you're like, I don't care about food and nutrition, just follow. Because I promise you, you'll take something from something. I promise you. And it's going to pop up on your feed when you least expect it. And you're like, oh shit. Okay. You know, it's not, the timing will be perfect. It's almost like a gentle call out, you know?
Yeah. Right.
It's a very gentle call out. And yeah, her approach, like I said, her approach to food is to embrace food. It's to be welcoming. It's a safe place. And that's really what drew me to it. Cause it's not this like rigorous thing. Like you're going to follow XYZ. It's, like I said, she talks about balance. She talks about what works for you. It's really important to find what works for you. And I value that. I value that a lot. And I appreciate you taking the time to be on this call. And everyone who's listening, please just be kind to yourself, man. Just be kind.
Yeah, no judgment. And I don't hold any judgment either. Like, you know, if you're coming to my page and you want to shoot me a DM and you're struggling because you eat fast food every single day, like I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to help you. I've seen everything, you know, so don't hesitate to reach out too. If you're struggling with something, I'd be happy to chat with you through the DMs.
Mm-hmm. You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Go call her right now. Well, I thank you so much. I actually learned a lot from this too. I took notes as you see my little page. I wanted to write down more, but I was like listening, you know. Yeah. If there's something to take away from this, is you deserve to be able to do these things. That's really what like really stuck out to me. Yes. And self-love.
Mm-hmm. Self-love isn't selfish.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
If there's anything to take away from this, is you deserve to be able to live this healthy life. And healthy looks different to everyone, but it's great to have someone on your side who will help you understand that.
Yes. Yes.
So
I'm here to just guide. I guide, and you're the leader. I'm just helping figure out what's working for you, what's not, and finding an approach that works for you long-term and something that you can stick to long-term. Like, you know, I think so many people are in this restrictive, like, oh, fad diet type of mentality where it's like, how is that going to work after you're done with the fad diet or you get off the fad diet? You're going to go back to your old eating habits. So it's really embodying and making this a lifestyle change that you can stick to long-term.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Well, guys, like I said, I'm going to put all of this in the links in bio. Thank you everyone to listening to the first podcast about the fuck you mentality. This is Alexa. I'm not Eisenberg, right?
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay. Oh, yes. Alexa Eisenberg, a registered dietitian who has years of experience and knowledge. Oh, there it is.
Dang it. Thought I could go full time without the bark.
We're so close.
We were.
Yes, thank you everyone so much for listening. And I look forward to you guys reaching out to Alexa and just having a conversation, man. Just have a conversation. It's a safe place. Okay.
Right. 100% safe place.
All right. Thank you, everyone. There you go.
Thank you.